Hello, my name is Jackson Whittaker, and today I'm going to be talking about fishing. The average person checks their phone over 100 times a day. Think about that for a second. That's like every few minutes. We live in a world where we're very consistent in doing something all the time. Either it's scrolling or watching videos or texting someone or switching from one thing to the next. And because of all that, we've kind of lost the ability to just sit still, to wait, to focus on one thing for a long time. If something doesn't happen right away, we get bored and move on. And it's not just phones either. It's everything. Fast food, fast entertainment, fast answers. We don't really have to wait for anything anymore. And because of that, we've kind of just trained ourselves to expect everything instantly. But the problem is, not everyone in life works like that. The most important thing actually takes time. And that's why learning patience is more important now than ever. But there's one place where all of that completely disappears. When you're out on the water fishing for largemouth bass, none of the fast-paced stuff matters anymore. And that's where I learned something that a lot of people are missing today, and that's patience. Distraction is basically normal now. Most people always have something in front of them. Even when we're bored for a few seconds, we just grab our phone without even thinking about it. And over time, that actually changes how we think. It makes it harder to focus, harder to wait, and harder to stick with things. We're used to instant results. If a video doesn't grab us in a few seconds, we just scroll to the next one. If something is difficult, we quit. But real growth doesn't work like that. And it's not like this is something we choose, it just kind of happens to us over time. Not because it's harder, but because we're not used to focusing that long anymore. And that's actually kind of a problem, because the ability to focus and stick with something is what leads us to success in most anything. And that's why something like fishing is actually way more important than people think. In a world full of distraction, I think largemouth bass fishing is one of the best ways to develop patience, discipline, and focus. And those three things, patience, discipline, and focus, aren't just useful for fishing. They're things that affect pretty much every part of your life. And I didn't realize this at first. I just thought fishing was something I enjoyed doing. But over time, I started to notice that it was actually changing how I think and how I handle things. It made me better at dealing with frustration, better at sticking with things, and better at focusing. And that's why I think it's more important than people actually realize. The first thing fishing teaches you is patience. When you're bass fishing, you don't control when the fish bite. You can have the perfect bait, be in the perfect spot, and still go a long time without anything happening. I've had days where I'm out there for hours just casting over and over again and not getting a single bite. And yeah, it's frustrating. But you don't just quit, you keep going. You keep casting and keep trying different baits, and you stay with it. And eventually, you get that one bite, and it actually means something because you had to wait for it for so long. Fishing forces you to slow down and accept that you don't get results instantly, and that's something a lot of people struggle with today. There's no shortcut around that. You can't rush fishing. You can't force the fish to bite your bait. And that's what makes it different from a lot of things we're used to today. We're used to being in control, either clicking something and getting a result immediately, but when you're fishing, you're not in control of the outcome. All you can control is your effort level, like where you cast or what you use and how long you stick with it. And I think that's a really important lesson, because in life, a lot of things are the same way. You don't always control results, but you do control your effort. The second thing fishing teaches is discipline. You don't just randomly become good at bass fishing. There's a lot you have to learn. What lures to use, where the fish are, how the weather affects the fish. It all takes time to figure out. And it also takes effort, like getting up early or staying out later, practicing even when it's not easy. A lot of people want results without putting in that kind of work, but fishing doesn't work like that. And honestly, neither does anything else in life. If you want to get better at something, whether it is school or sports or anything, you have to be consistent. That's what discipline is. And it's not always fun either. There are days where it's cold or hot or nothing is even working. But that's where discipline actually matters the most, when you don't feel like doing it. Anyone can do something when it's easy or when they're motivated, but discipline is doing it even when you're not. And fishing kind of teaches you that without even realizing it. You just keep going because you want to get better. The third thing fishing teaches is focus. When you're fishing, you have to pay attention to really small details. You're watching your line, feeling for movements, paying attention to the water, what the weather is. You're paying attention to basically everything. And sometimes the difference between catching a fish and missing it is just a few seconds. If you're not paying attention, you might miss it. And that's a problem a lot of people have today. We're so used to distractions that it's hard to even stay focused on one thing. But when you're fishing, you don't really have a choice. You have to be locked in if you want to catch fish. And over time, that actually trains your mind to focus better. And it's not just physical focus, it's mental too. You're consistently thinking, should I change lures or should I move spots? What are the fish doing right now? Why don't the fish want to bite my bait? So your brain is fully engaged the whole time. And that's really different from things like scrolling on your phone, where you're just kind of passively taking things in. Fishing actually forces you to be active and aware of your surroundings. And that's what builds real focus over time. Now, some people might hear all this and think, it's just fishing. It's not that serious. Yeah, for some people it's just a hobby, but I think that actually misses the point. Because anything that consistently teaches you patience, discipline, and focus is shaping who you are. It's not really about the fish. It's about what the process is doing to you. And I get why people think that. From the outside, it looks like someone is sitting in a boat or standing on the bank, just wasting their life away. But when you actually do it, you realize there's a lot more going on. It's not just relaxing, but it's challenging. Test your patience, your mindset, and how you respond when things aren't going your way. Now, why does this even matter? And I think the reason this matters is because those skills actually carry over into your real life. Patience helps you deal with things when they don't go your way, and discipline helps you stay consistent and improve over time. And finally, focus helps you actually do things well. These are things that are becoming more and more rare. And they aren't just nice to have skills. I think they're necessary. Without patience, people will give up too quickly. And without discipline, people never even improve. And without focus, people can't perform at their best. And those are things that affect school or jobs or even your relationships that pretty much affect anything. And that's why something as simple as fishing can actually be really valuable. It gives you a break from all the noise, and it helps you build skills that actually matter in your real life. Now, at the end of the day, fishing isn't really just about catching the bass or snapping the photo and posting it to your Instagram. It's about being more patient, more disciplined, and more focused in a world that's constantly trying to distract you. And maybe that's something more people need. Because right now, everything is super fast and super loud and always consistent. But maybe what actually helps us grow is slowing down or just chilling out. Maybe what we need isn't more speed, but maybe we need more stillness. And I'm not saying everyone needs to go fishing, but I do think everyone needs something in their life that slows them down and challenges them in this way. Something that teaches them to wait, to stay consistent, and to focus. Because without that, it's really easy to get caught up in constant distractions around us. Here are some pictures of the largemouth bass I've caught over the years. I hope you liked my presentation, and thank you for your time.